I got you too. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Now, tonight, as we reminisce about the past and catch up on the present, I can't help but being a little bit nostalgic. And as such, I'd like to take a few moments and talk about the journey of service merchandise that brought us to this point. But first of all, I'd like to do something that's really near and dear to anybody who works in store operations. I want to do a physical inventory. Everybody loves that, right? Physical inventory. I know you're finishing your dinners, you're eating a little bit, drinking. I'd like to, at this moment, to all service merchandise associates assembled here tonight, please stand up. If you're an associate, please. Dale, you said it. Come on. Keep standing. Oh yes, give yourself a round of applause. Absolutely. I would ask, for those associates whose service merchandise career was more than 5 years, remain standing.
Barely.
For those associates who were with service merchandise for more than 10 years, remain standing.
A little bit more.
For those who survived 15 years, please remain standing. For those who made the unbelievable milestone of 20 years at service merchandise, please remain standing. We're getting down to it. 25 years or more, remain standing. 30 years or more, remain standing. Do we have 35 years or more? Raymond? 'Cons. Now, whether your career spanned 1 year or 40 years, your attendance here tonight is a testament to the lasting bond that was made by you being a member of the service merchandise family. It mattered not whether you worked in operations or distribution, finance or legal, merchandising, real estate or PCM, marketing, IT, or any of the other numerous departments that made service merchandise great. Whether you worked in the stores, field operations, whether you worked at Airways Plaza, whether you worked at Metro Center, Citgo Drive, or the Brentwood office. That experience changed you forever. That installed in you a lifetime of shared family memories. And everyone here tonight played an important part in the service merchandise story, and you all deserve a round of applause. Now, our journey down memory lane tonight. Our journey down memory lane tonight must start with Harry and Mary Zimmerman. From their early life, their courtship, their marriage in Memphis, to their first 5 and dime store in Pulaski, Tennessee, Mary and Harry worked hard building the foundation of what would become a dream probably larger than they probably could have imagined at the time. Now, on the other hand, at this early stage, Raymond's contributions reportedly included things like assembling and playing with toys, eating boxes of Goo clusters, shooting baby birds with his BB gun, and setting the local cemetery on fire. Well, despite all this, Harry and Mary's chain of 5 and dime stores eventually evolved into service wholesale, selling house mirrors to grocery stores. And over time, with a little bit more meaningful help from Raymond, the business continued to evolve. The niche market of toys grew, spurred on by Romper Room, the sale of Chatty Cathy's, hula hoops, and Barbie dolls. Finally, in 1960, Service Wholesale would convert their national warehouse on Lower Broadway here in Nashville into the first service merchandise store. And from that humble beginning, Harry and Mary's leadership would help drive service merchandise to become an industry leader all the way up to Mr. Harry's retirement in 1981. Now, their guidance of treating every customer like a guest in their home was the hallmark that built the brand loyalty to which customers still to this very day speak of. Harry and Mary also believed that their success engendered a debt to the communities that they served. Now, this belief established the hallmark of philanthropy, not only in the company, but throughout the family of associates. Now, unfortunately, I was a late arrival on the scene. I only had the opportunity of meeting Mr. Harry and Miss Mary on a couple of special occasions. And at this time, I'd like to ask Mr. Jim Newman from Jewelry Operations to share a little bit more. Jim?
All I can say is, seeing everybody here tonight, it's a rush. Greg went through several things that I was going to talk about with Mr. Harry from the standpoint of his charitable work. I'm going to pick it up a little later. I met Mr. Harry the very first day I started at Service Merchandise. It was March 4th, 1972, at Unit 11, 305 Broadway. That wonderful, rickety old building smelled like a school bus. It was probably the finest building in Nashville. I got to meet Mr. Harry for about 30 seconds that day, my very first day. And when I left him, he was downstairs in the catacombs working on merchandise and transfers. And when I went back upstairs, I just said to myself, this man is intense. So I didn't get to see Mr. Harry in action for several months. Now, this was March of '72 when I started. But when I really got to see Mr. Harry in action was November of 1972 at the grand opening of Unit 16 in Memphis, Tennessee, 584 South Mendenhall Road. Mr. Harry had come to Memphis for the grand opening. And I was 22 years old, had never been through a fourth quarter grand opening of Service Merchandise. Mr. Harry is standing out front, getting ready to cut the ribbon, and I'm telling you right now, every citizen within Shelby County, Tennessee, North Mississippi, in eastern Arkansas was either in the service merchandise parking lot or the Fred Montesi parking lot across the street. When Mr. Harry cut the ribbon and those doors opened, I had never seen such a tsunami of humanity in my life. For me, as a new jewelry manager, it was a spiritual moment. I simply said, Lord, please get me through this day. Mr. Harry was making his way back into the showroom. Just immense amount of folks walking through, and he was greeting as many people as he could. He was greeting them and he was welcoming them into the new store. What impressed me the most about Mr. Harry that day was simply this. He worked his way back into the jewelry department and immediately asked for a set of showcase keys, and he went to work selling product. I was impressed. After that day was over, I didn't get to see Mr. Harry very much because he was working in Nashville with all of the merchandising group. But what did happen is that Mr. Harry would call us from time to time from Nashville. And he'd say, Mr. Newman, I want to ask you about a specific piece of merchandise. Could you tell me, on a 93-101 WDC, are you and your staff and customers happy with the stones? Are you happy with the weight of the mounting? And by the way, how about that Clinton Divers watch that's packed in water? Was that a good move or a bad move? And he truly wanted to know our opinions on it. Now, once in a blue moon, when Mr. Harry would call, he would throw a zinger at you. And it would kind of go like this. Mr. Newman, could you tell us about that 93-101 WDC rig? Could you tell us a little bit about the Clinton Divers watch? And oh, by the way, how many salespeople do you have on the floor tonight? Jewelry coverage in the early and mid-70s was a topic of debate. And if you were a jewelry manager or a store manager who liked to live in the fast lane, or liked to live dangerously, or if you were one of these managers that just wanted to have a personalized meet and greet with your district manager, you tell Harry Zimmerman you don't have enough help in the jewelry department. I guarantee you're going to get a quick response. The important thing on Mr. Harry is this. He and Ms. Mary, through their vision, they built a foundation. They set the stage for all of us in this room. They created a business plan and executed that business plan, and boy, did it take off. And what a ride it was. Now, Mr. Harry, his management style, he managed his business firmly. He managed his business with strong business savvy, impeccable character, charm and grace and style, and more importantly, he was a gentleman. And to close, I'm just simply going to say, I think it's absolutely wonderful that the two great leaders of our company are the father and son team, Mr. Harry and Mr. Raymond Zimmerman. Thank you, Mr. Raymond. It's been a pleasure being here tonight with you all. Good night.
Thank you, Jim. It reminded me at a store managers meeting some years back. I'm not sure what hotel it was, but Mr. Harry Quipke was so impressed with seeing all these people here tonight, and he harkened back that he remembered when they had the store managers meeting around his kitchen table. He also remarked about being drafted. He reportedly asked the recruiter when he received his notice to report, "Does this mean all the women and children have been gone?" I know I should have said that. Now, even as fast as I can talk, it would be even impossible for me to provide crib notes on service merchandise log history. But in my time allotted, I'd like to take a few minutes to highlight some of the milestones, some of the achievements that many here tonight might remember or actually have taken part of. Now, after that first store opened in the 1960s, sales exceeded expectations. 4 additional stores opened: Madison, Chattanooga, and where else? Memphis. Joining forces with a flagship store at 305 Broadway, total sales would exceed $20 million by the end of the decade. Now, during the 1970s, Service Merchandise would establish itself as a coast-to-coast presence with over 100 stores and over $730 million in sales. That decade also saw the company go public. It saw the establishment of the New York Jewelry Buying Office, and it saw us position ourselves as America's leading jeweler. Now, during the 1980s, Raymond and the team really placed the pedal to the metal, so to speak. In 1980, we published our very first own catalog. Our store count and our earnings tripled. Our sales quadrupled. The company actually paid a $10 a share dividend. Wouldn't that be nice today? New markets were added and new talent joined the team when we acquired Sam Solomon's, Elman's, and H.J. Wilson. And the company ventured into new and diversified offerings with the opening of the toy store, the computer shop, the lingerie store, Mr. Howe, Kid Central, and of course, Zim's. Now, by decade's end, Service Merchandise had posted over $3.3 billion in sales and had 334 stores. But during our last decade, in the 90s, we really reached our peak. In 1992, the company reported its highest earnings ever, reporting $84 million in earnings. We operated 409 stores, and we generated over $4 billion in sales. Now, along the way, Service Merchandise also led the way through innovation and technology. From the early days of the Honeywell CRT, and our famous Oki data printers, we love those. Pneumatic tubes, what a system that was. Conveyor belts and clipboards, up to solid salmon nail log. Service Merchandise continued to evolve as an industry leader. We would establish an automated warehouse in Montgomery, New York. We'd create the first nationwide online gift registry. We communicate with our store associates via satellite communications via at our service programs. We did this and a whole lot more with the talent and the dedication of our family of associates, such as we have here assembled tonight. Now, from part-time and seasonal to full-time and career, it is estimated over 500,000 people work for Service Merchandise at some point. As such, they became lifetime members of the Service Merchandise family. Now, for certain here in Middle Tennessee, everybody either worked at Service Merchandise, had a family member who worked at Service Merchandise, had a friend that worked at Service Merchandise at some point in their career. Now, let's take a few moments to hear some personal reflections from some members of our family.
I remember most about Service Merchandise is unequivocally the people, great people. Tonight we celebrate not only our founding fathers, but all those who helped make this company great. And I could never think about being surrounded by that group of people. Think about who I've sat under all these years. Raymond, Everett Purdy, Charlie Steinbrook, Bill Price, Bob Rubinoff, Tom Shump, Frank Casiglia, and Jim Brevard. I learned a lot from all of them. I am forever grateful for their support and what I learned from them, both good and bad. But They were wonderful, but even more importantly for me, the people that worked for me were just outstanding, and I wouldn't have been where I was without just great people. And many are gone now, we'll miss them greatly. But I'm thankful for all of that, and I'm thankful for all of you. And I gotta say a shout out to our group tonight that was on the steering committee. They were fantastic. They put up with me since mid-July. Every week we had a Zoom meeting to work on what was going on, and you were recruited by all these people, and also Patty Roskin with service merchandise, Raymond's assistant. She was fantastic. So thank you guys, and ladies, have a great night, and we will see you soon.
This is Ann Bridges, and I was a buyer for service merchandise. Service merchandise was actually the beginning of my job foundation. I started at service merchandise as a secretary/buyer's assistant in the housework department over on Murfreesboro Road. Once I was there for a short period, upper management noticed my work ethics and promoted me to assistant buyer, and then from that I went to buyer. And after I was a buyer, then I have to say something about upper management. One person in particular, which I think I was actually truly a little bit scared of. I have to say, Mr. Purdy. Mr. Purdy instilled in me that I had to do better than good. I had to be 100%. So service merchandise actually taught me so many learning skills. They taught me how to be a buyer. They taught me about product development. And with that, I went on to other companies and worked as a buyer. I worked in product development. I went overseas to different countries. Service merchandise actually did so many things for me. While I was at service merchandise, I actually eloped and married my college sweetheart. I actually purchased my first home through service merchandise, and we actually had our kids through there while we were at service merchandise. Then when I had my kid, I have to tell you a story about my son. His picture was in the catalog. His picture was in the catalog on the bookshelf. And I was sitting in my office and the phone rings, and it is the company legal department. And I'm like, oh no. And all of a sudden they're like, there's this lady that claims that your son is her son, and that we went to Sears and got his picture, and we used his picture from Sears. So she's actually selling service merchandise, and she's actually suing Sears. So funny thing though, I think that was the first time that it became everything we had to be. If your child was in the catalog or somewhere, we had to be signed off on the release. I think that was the beginning of that. So, and then all my colleagues thought it was funny, because what they did was they blew his picture up and put it all around the office with wanted posters. So wanted posters all over the office. But I have to say, service merchandise, it was a joy working for service merchandise, because when we started working for service merchandise, we were all young. We were all young. So we learned so much there, and we actually all grew, and we all grew together. And I have to say, I met a lot of my lifelong friends. I have a lot of memories from service merchandise. And so I'm grateful for the time that I spent at service merchandise, because to me, that was the beginning of my foundation as with my work and home. And I would like to take this time to actually thank all my service merchandise family. Thanks to Mr. Z. Thanks, Mr. Z, for all the birthday cards that you send, because when I open up those birthday cards, and it makes me feel good that just to know that you had sent that you thought of us. You took the time to think of us.
Hi, I'm Dave Finelli. I started with service merchandise in 1998 as district manager. I oversee stores in Northwest Indiana and in Illinois. And service merchandise was my dream job. I actually planned on retiring from the company. Great to see you all.
What does service merchandise mean to me? In one word, a family. While I've worked for many companies since leaving service merchandise in 1995, developed some friendships, and made some lasting relationships, none compare to the culture and atmosphere that we all experienced while working at service merchandise. We truly were a family, uplifting each other, working together, loving each other. A bit dysfunctional at times, but yeah, it was a wonderful experience of any company I've ever worked.
When I first joined service merchandise, I worked for Mr. Harry. He collected dollars for MDA in those days using a system of index cards. He called friends and business people he knew from around Tennessee using those. Every year those cards would come out. He'd call and talk to them for a bit and then say, you know, it's time for the MDA telethon and it's time for the collect. Last year he gave us $100, and this year business has been good for both of us. How about we raise that to $150? In those years, he raised about $20,000 to $30,000, and that was about the extent of service merchandise's collections. He did all of this because he had a neighbor that had a child with Duchenne MD. He called this his labor of love. A couple of years later, I arranged for doctors to look at my 2-year-old son. He was having trouble with his walking skills, and all the doctors who'd been to in the Nashville area had told us we were just over-concerned and dismissed us. We took him to the Medical College of Virginia, and a doctor there diagnosed him with Duchenne MD, and we were devastated. Within hours of having this diagnosis, Mr. Hurley called me and told me that we had an appointment with Dr. Finshow, the head of the MDA clinic in Nashville, and we had an appointment with him at 9 o'clock on Monday morning. And this was the beginning of an amazing journey for us, and got us involved with MDA, and me involved in several different levels with MDA. And SMC began to get involved on a corporate level as well. My son lived to graduate from college and lived to an old age for him of 38, the average lifetime being about 16 for Duchenne patients. None of this could have happened without that phone call from Mr. Harry.
Many of us here this evening will speak about the sense of families that we all enjoyed at service merchandise. And I came of age over there. I did get married and have my 3 children during the 12 years I spent at service. But that was that family, and the group at SMC was my other family. It really was. It was a nurturing experience. It was a growing experience. It put hair on my chest when I had those confrontations with upper management. But you know what it did? It taught me how to negotiate. It taught me how to be a better buyer. All of those memories, the good ones and the tight deadlines on markdown budgets and open to buy worries, planned margin growth, all of that stuff. It was an incubator to learn, to work hard, to play hard. And for me personally, it was a great example on where to put my reading glasses when I so thank you, Mr. Zimmerman. And thank you, Service Merchandise.
I'm Tammy Jones, and I started my journey at service merchandise in the fall of 1982 as a seasonal jewelry clerk. I was very fortunate that I got to stay on after Christmas and continue my career at service merchandise into 2002. That journey took me to store management. It took me to corporate in the finance department and store operations. It allowed me to travel. In every state we had a service merchandise, meet a lot of people. I made a lot of mistakes, learned a lot, and it helped me develop my career.
So I just want to say thank you to the Zimmerman family who started Service Merchandise that allowed me to build my character, my career, and also start a family. Because I met my husband there and I started my family as Service Merchandise was coming to a close in 2002. So thank you to the Zimmermans and all the friends that I've made over the years. Y'all have been wonderful and you're like family. God bless.
My name is Gregory Manette. My introduction to the Service Merchandise family began in 1979, where I spent my first 2 weeks at Christmas time working the customer pickup counter at store 241 in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Now, having survived my initiation, I then began what would become a 20-year career at corporate office. Now, never in my life did I ever imagine the people I would meet, the places I would travel, the challenges I would face, or the things I would achieve. But most importantly, the things that I would learn. I think most importantly, I learned how to think. I learned how to become a lifelong learner, how to accept my ignorance, and how to stand steadfast in the things I believed in. Now, despite what Raymond says, we often worked very hard. We also played very hard. We made lifelong friends, and we met many people who made indelible marks on our lives along the way. Now, the Service Merchandise story didn't end like a fairy tale, but what a story it was. To Raymond, and to all the Service Merchandise family, thank you, thank you, thank you. As Barry remarked, as hard as we work, we did find time to play. As part of our good health program, team sports and competitions were really part of the fabric of the life of Service Merchandise. From softball, bowling, golf, tennis, volleyball, and my personal favorite, volleyball. Love it. And there always seemed a reason to party. Party, P-A-R-T-Y, party. Birthdays and weddings to baby showers and holidays. Creativity abounded during Halloween and Christmas time when we had competitions of who could best decorate their office door. For those who worked in the advertising and marketing department, putting the catalog to bed each year was definitely a reason to celebrate. Now, at least we forget the annual Halloween costume parties, or for those who might remember, the infamous Hooker's Ball. Now, a large portion of our social activities centered around our corporate culture of giving. Initiated by our founding fathers and continued throughout our history, this giving extended through our company, our associates, our vendors, and even our valued customers. Millions of dollars were raised, volunteer hours in the tens of thousands were given in support of various charitable organizations in the communities we serve. Associates and customers both annually donated tons of food to the Second Harvest Food Bank. Needed school supplies in support of the Student Writers Showcase, provided much needed assistance to local public schools through Project Pencil. Annual pledge drives through the United Way help improve the communities that we serve. Funding and volunteer hours supported public television through the annual Action Auction. Our support of junior achievement provided students a hands-on opportunity to learn about the world of business. But nearest to our hearts would be our long-term support of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. Through Harry and Mary's personal experience arose a culture of love and dedication for Jerry's kids.
When Ethel Sandler's son, Billy, was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy in the early 50s, little was known about the disease. So Ethel began a lifelong commitment to raising money to help find a cure. Ethel's neighbors were Service Merchandise founders Mary and Harry Zimmerman. As they became acquainted with Ethel and Billy, they wanted to join the fight against muscular dystrophy, and they carried that enthusiasm into the family business. From this beginning, Service Merchandise has become a leader in raising money for the Muscular Dystrophy Association. Fundraising events are held in more than 400 Service Merchandise stores nationwide, raising close to $1 million each year. And the annual Mary and Harry Zimmerman Memorial Dinner is the single largest fundraiser for MDA, raising almost $12 million since 1986. Ethel Sandler passed away in 1995, but her devotion to the MDA continues to inspire Service Merchandise as it helps lead the way in finding a cure for muscular dystrophy.
Now, through in-store events such as Shamrock Sales and Diamond Digs, the sale of flag pens, Tootsie Pops, and Raymond's favorite, candy bars, we raise over $1 million each year. Through our personal payroll pledges and individual donations, every year associates would give over $500,000. Now, our premier event, of course, was the Harry and Mary Zimmerman Memorial Dinner. A little background, in 1986, we found out the city of Nashville wanted to honor Mr. Harry for his lifelong community involvement and charitable giving. Well, we approached the family with an audacious idea. Why don't we have a black tie dinner to help celebrate Mr. Harry's honor and make it for his favorite charity, the MDA? Well, with their approval, we moved forward. Now, we had never done a black tie dinner before, but through the help of our volunteer committee, a lot of help from the people at Opryland Hotel, we moved forward. And we were told that if in our first year, if we could raise $100,000, we would have a very successful event. Well, it became very apparent early on that the support of our vendor community, the support of the national community, that we're going to jump right up there to a premier event that very first year. But our biggest concern as we neared that event was the fear that Miss Mary might not be feeling well. And we knew that if that was the case, that Mr. Harry would not leave her side even to come to his own event. Unfortunately, it was Mr. Harry who passed away shortly before. But with the family's permission, we moved forward as a memorial celebration of his life. And that inaugural event netted over $400,000 that first year. That nearly doubled our entire contribution from the prior year. Now, with the family's continued support, we created the annual event that celebrated individuals from the entertainment, sports, and business community who displayed those same hallmarks of charity and community involvement. In addition to the Associate Award, we instituted the Service Merchandise Leadership Award, where we recognize scientists and researchers who are on that leading edge of discovery in the battle against neuromuscular disease. As the dinner evolved, we instituted both a golf tournament, a tennis tournament, a casino night, and at its zenith, this one single event netted $1.5 million net each and every year. Now, through Mr. Harry's and Raymond's continued leadership, our associates, our customers, and our vendors over the years raised millions of dollars for this particular cause. Now, to talk a little bit more of that, I'd like to take a moment to introduce somebody special with us tonight. For many of us, Chris Clark was a household name as a news source and a member of the community for over 40 years at his career at Channel 5. His career was further augmented by his involvement in the community itself, and amongst his many endeavors Chris worked tirelessly on behalf of the MDA. For many of us, Labor Day weekend meant two things: Chris Clark and Jerry Lewis. And every year, dozens of our associates would volunteer their time, join Chris for 24 and some odd hours straight through Labor Day weekend for the telethon. But Chris's involvement went beyond telethon. He was a standing fixture every year at the MDA summer camp. He was in leadership positions on the local board for many years. And as we all know, Chris was the MC for the Harry Zimmerman Dinner for many years as well. Please welcome a good friend, a true member of the Service Merchandise family, Mr. Chris Clark.
That's a high compliment to be considered a member of the Service Merchandise family. I'm so proud that you had asked an outsider to be part of this. But my late wife, Gloria, spent so much money in service, I do feel like I have some skin in the game. Let's go to the tote board. Oh my God, I had a flashback. I'm sorry. Even all you people here, it's a real honor to be here to honor Raymond Zimmerman and to honor all of you associates. Do you have any idea how much money you all raised for muscular dystrophy? Any at all? $27 million. You made a difference with Raymond's leadership and the Zimmerman family's leadership. You made a big difference in the lives of a lot of people who without you would have had no hope, no summer camp, no medical doctors available. I can go on and on and on and on. But the hour is late, and I do want to say how pleased I am that you chose me to be up here tonight with you. It's a real honor, a real honor. Raymond wants you to come forward at this point. If you can say no, you're still the boss. But I have something to present to you. When he comes up, I got to tell you my story about Mr. Harry Zimmerman. When I started doing the telethon, they briefed me that Mr. Harry Zimmerman was a take control kind of guy, and I should just, go with the flow. I would call him up for the telethon, and the first thing he did was grab my microphone. 2 years later, I said, "Here's Mr. Harry Zimmerman, here's your microphone, Mr. Zimmerman." I learned my lesson. But when Raymond came along, he had so many pledge cards to read, I got to hold the microphone for him. You will be happy to know, I hope, that this day is really Raymond Zimmerman Day in Nashville, Tennessee. Yeah. I want to read it to you. I'll read it to you. Let's give my best to you all of that. Let me read the proclamation. Whereas Raymond Zimmerman, along with his parents, co-founded the Service Merchandise Company in Nashville in 1960, and whereas through the leadership of Raymond Zimmerman, Service Merchandise grew to over 400 locations with annual sales exceeding $4 billion, and whereas Raymond Zimmerman promoted a company culture which resulted in innumerable dollars in volunteer hours given to the Nashville community and by the family of Service Merchandise Associates, and whereas Raymond Zimmerman has been recognized for his lifelong philanthropy concern. I used to have a teleprompter, so I'm not used to that. And community involvement by numerous community organizations, such as United Way of Middle Tennessee, the Muscular Dystrophy Association, and the Jewish Federation of Greater Nashville. And whereas Raymond Zimmerman continues to share his gifts of time, talent, and treasure during his retirement, serving both community groups as well as a lecturer and mentor to those pursuing retailing and entrepreneurial endeavors. Now, therefore, I, Freddie O'Connell, the 10th Mayor of Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, do hereby proclaim November 2nd, 2024 as Raymond Zimmerman Day. I don't have a microphone for you to take away from me, but I would like to say a few words if you so choose, and I hope you so choose, but you want to hear from the boss. Step right up. Right.
Oh, Tyler, unaccustomed I am to public speaking. Chris, thank you for being here tonight. It brings back so many wonderful memories. Please, everybody, give Chris a great big hand. Your wife, a wonderful thing, how he handled our honored guests, and just on and on and on, and all the things he did. But the way he managed that telethon, for those of you who are too young to remember, it was a work of art. So it ran as a masterpiece. It was a well-oiled machine. And Chris, the whole MDA society, association, everything owes you a tremendous debt of gratitude for all you did.
If I did 1/10 of what you did, I would accept that honor. I know my place, and I know what you did. I know what the associates did, and that means more to me than you'll ever know.
Well,
You all did.
the one thing we didn't succeed in was that trip to the board meeting. That we tried to get MDA to come to their senses. But anyway, we tried, we gave it our best shot, and it's still a wonderful organization trying to do wonderful work. So the reason that I was able to do all the charity work was really for the benefit of the company. And the reason it was for the benefit of the company, because I got involved in that and stayed out of y'all's way and do your job. And every time I would come in and do something or try to help you or work or what, it got screwed up. Not because of you, because of me. So for that, I apologize. But I want to thank y'all all for being here tonight, and for all those who wanted to come but couldn't come. That this is a very momentous evening for me, for my family, and I hope that you all had a wonderful time enjoying each other and being together and renewing old friendships. And I just want to tell you how much this evening means to me, that y'all are here, that you would give up a Saturday night to come out to be with me and your friends, whatever, to keep the Service Merchandise family going. That's a wonderful, wonderful feeling for all of you. And I cannot tell you how proud I am to have had the honor and privilege, excuse me, of being what I was at Service, because to this very day, I run into people everywhere. Oh, I remember Service Merchandise, I bought this, I bought that, this happened, that happened. You know, I put up the Service Merchandise, I bought the Service Merchandise name when the company liquidated. As I said, you need to buy the names before somebody buys it and bastardize it. So I put up a website to have something to do and to play with and this and the other. I started getting all these phone calls, emails and everything. If you have a credit card from a company and the company goes out of business, that credit card is not canceled. You have to cancel it. So people were redoing their home loans at the time and this, and when they did that, looked at their credit score, those credit cards were showing up, which was a negative. So we had months and months and months of getting rid of people's credit cards. Then a great jewelry department, God bless them, had all these promotions. If you bought our Regency battery-operated watch, we had a lifetime guarantee on batteries. When the batteries died, everybody calls me and wants to replace the battery. For those, I just sent a check for $2. Then the wonderful thing was that if your stones fell out, we would replace the stones. So all the stones started falling out. And I would say, well, you didn't keep your end of the bargain. You didn't come in every 6 months to let us check it. There was no place to go. So 99.9% of the people understood. And everybody said, now 1 out of 100 said anything other than, I sure miss Service Merchandise. We wish you were still there. Please come back, bring the stores. And the last catalog went out, I don't know, close to 30 years ago, 25 years ago. I still get requests for catalogs. And where's my catalog? So we have to write them, we don't have a catalog. look online. But anyway, this is truly a testament to you folks for the fabulous job you did and all the rest of the people who aren't here tonight. Thank you, thank you, thank you, not only from the family, but from the vendors who still talk about you, that you were the best, the most honest, legitimate, hardest working, knowledgeable, toughest, fairest people they dealt with, and most of all, from the customers. The customers still love you, appreciate you, and want you back. So anyway, thank you all for this evening, one and all, and the cockles of my heart are bursting with pride and appreciation. And Chris, thank you, sir, for being here tonight, and it's always good to see you. And each and every one of you, if you ever get near Florida, I'm there. I'm good for a lunch, breakfast, dinner, whatever you want. Come to me. I'm your go-to guy. Please. Thank you, one and all. Love you all, and miss you all every day.
Okay. I mean, if you got words. No. Now, as we close out this portion of the program, I'd like to thank each and every one of you whose participation tonight has made this evening so special. Seeing all these familiar faces, catching up on what's going on in your life right now is just as special as the memories that we've shared from the past. Now, hopefully, tonight's reunion will just add to that storehouse of memories. I want to remind everybody we still have a long evening to go. We have more music, more entertainment. We have time for stories, lies, and gossip. Everybody, have a great evening.